Cole was just a human diplomat. Nothing more, nothing less. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, and he definitely wasn't the strongest person in the room. But today, he was standing in the Grand Hall of Veltor Prime, one of the oldest and most powerful cities in the Caravan Empire. It was made of silver walls, floating lights, and glowing banners in languages he couldn't even read. Dozens of alien species filled the room, tall ones with crystal skin, short ones with moving tattoos, and others with eyes that blinked sideways. He was the only human invited. Earth had just recently joined the Galactic Union, and he was sent as a representative. Cole wore a simple black suit, no armor, no weapons, just calm eyes and a quiet smile. The ceremony was going smoothly. Every guest walked up to the stage, greeted the caravan nobles, and offered a gift. Some gave jewels, others gave scrolls or tools. When it was Cole's turn, he stepped forward with a small plant in a glass container. "This," he said softly, "is a desert rose. It grows where nothing else can." Whispers filled the hall. Some were curious, some were bored. But the caravan, noble sitting in the center throne, Lady Veraxa, looked at him with cold, golden eyes. Then, without saying a word, she stood, walked to Cole, and spat directly on his cheek. The room went silent. Aliens froze. Some looked shocked. Others turned away. One alien with blue feathers even whispered, "She spat on him. That is—" Cole didn't know what to do. He blinked once, slowly wiped his cheek with his sleeve, and stood tall. He didn't shout. He didn't leave. He simply looked Veraxa in the eye and gave her a polite nod. "Thank you," he said. More gasps. Lady Veraxa stared at him for a long moment. Then she turned and walked back to her throne, her expression unreadable. The ceremony continued, but the mood had shifted. Everyone kept glancing at the human who had just been spit on, and didn't react with anger or shame. Later, in a quiet corner of the hall, a small alien approached Cole. It was a bird-like creature with shimmering feathers and sharp claws. "You didn't fall to your knees," it said in surprise. "Should I have?" Cole asked. The alien looked around nervously. "Do you even know what that meant?" "No. I just assumed she didn't like the flower." The alien let out a strange laugh. No. Being spat on by Lady Veraxa, it is not just an insult, it is a test, a challenge. Most species consider it a great honor. Many beg for it to prove they are worthy. And yet, she gave it to you, and you stayed calm." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like strange politics to me." "Strange to you," the alien said, "but to others, you just became very, very interesting." Cole didn't know whether to be proud or concerned. But one thing was clear. The moment Lady Veraxa spat on him, something had changed. And now all eyes were on the human from Earth. Cole couldn't sleep that night. He sat by the window in his guest room, staring out at the glowing skyline of Veltor Prime. Alien ships moved like fireflies in the sky. The city never seemed to rest. Neither could he. The words of that feathered alien echoed in his mind. Being spat on by Lady Veraxa is a test, a challenge. He still didn't fully understand. Back on Earth, being spit on was a clear insult. But here, it meant something else. Something powerful. He wondered why Veraxa chose him. He was new, unknown, and unimportant compared to the other alien guests. The next morning, a soft knock came at his door. It was a translator drone, floating with a glowing eye. "Lady Veraxa has summoned you. Please follow." Cole dressed quickly and followed the drone through silver hallways lined with statues and guards. They entered a quiet garden with tall red trees and floating fish that swam through the air like birds. Veraxa stood at the center, wearing a long silver robe. She was alone. "You came," she said calmly. Cole gave a slight bow. "You called me." Veraxa looked him over. "You surprised me yesterday. Most beings I spit on either cry or fall to their knees, hoping I will reward them. You simply wiped your cheek." Cole kept his voice steady. "Where I come from, that gesture is insulting, but I chose not to react. Varaxa's lips curved into a small smile. Interesting. You are not like the others. She turned and began walking along a smooth stone path. Cole followed. Do you know why other species beg for my attention? She asked. Cole shook his head. I can guess. Power? Status? Yes, she said. The Caravan Empire is ancient. Our nobles are trained from birth to lead, command, and dominate. A gesture from us, even something as small as a glance or spit, can change another's future. It can bring honor or shame. Cole frowned. Then why give that to me? I brought a flower, not a challenge. Varaxa stopped walking. She looked at the airfish as they danced above. Because I wanted to see what humans do under pressure. Your people are new. Most species came to us begging for peace, help, or protection, but Earth, your world sent you. And you stood straight in front of me. Cole nodded slowly. You wanted to test humans. Yes, she said. And now, I'm more curious than before. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Varaxa added, Others are watching you now. Some will be impressed. Others will be jealous. And a few may want you removed. Removed? Cole asked carefully. Varaxa glanced at him. You embarrassed powerful people without even trying. That makes you dangerous. Cole's heart beat a little faster, but he stayed calm. Then what now? Varaxa stepped closer, her voice softer. Now, I will give you a real chance to prove yourself. She handed him a small silver card. Strange symbols glowed across. It'd be at this place tomorrow. You will find out what kind of strength truly matters in this empire. Without another word, she walked away, her robe flowing behind her like water. Cole looked at the card, then up at the sky. Whatever this test was, it had just begun, and Earth's place in the galaxy might depend on what he did next. The next day, Cole stood outside a giant metal building with the silver card Varaxa had given him. There was no name, no guards, just a large black door and a red light above it. As soon as he touched the door, it slid open with a smooth hiss. Inside was a huge round arena made of polished stone. It looked ancient. Tall seats rose in rings around the center, and a small crowd of aliens had already gathered. Some wore robes, others armor, and many stared at Cole the moment he stepped in. A loud voice echoed from the walls. Welcome, human. You've been invited to the trial of challenge. Cole blinked. Trial? Varaxa stood on a raised platform watching. Silently, she gave him a slow nod. Next to her stood a large creature with dark red skin and heavy armor. It had 4 arms and eyes like burning coals. This, the voice continued, is General Varnak of the Orc species, champion of 12 trials. Today you will face him in a test of strength and survival. Cole felt his stomach twist. He didn't have armor, no weapon. He wasn't a fighter, but he stepped into the center of the arena anyway. General Varnak growled, You can leave now, human. No one will judge you. Cole looked up at Varaxa. She said nothing. He then looked at Varnak and shook his head. No, I'll stay. The crowd murmured. Some laughed. Others leaned forward in interest. The voice announced, Begin. Varnak charged like a bull. Cole rolled to the side just in time. The alien's fists smashed into the ground, cracking stone. Cole didn't try to fight back with punches. He knew that would be useless. Instead, he ran, dodging, rolling, jumping. He made Varnak chase him in circles. The alien grew angrier, and faster, but also tired. After several minutes, Cole picked up a loose stone from the ground. When Varnak rushed again, Cole threw the stone at his eyes. The general blocked it, but the move gave Cole just enough time to slide under his legs and trip him from behind. The alien crashed to the floor with a loud thud. Gasps filled the arena. Varnak rose quickly, roaring in rage, but Varaxa raised her hand. Enough. The trial was over. Cole stood panting in the middle of the arena. He hadn't won with strength. He had won with speed, timing, and thinking differently. Varaxa stepped forward and spoke to the crowd. Let this be a lesson. Strength is not only in muscles and weapons, but in mind and control. The crowd remained silent. Some stared at Cole with new respect. Others looked uncomfortable. Varnak walked over and extended a heavy hand. You fight with honor. I expected a weakling. I was wrong. Cole shook his hand even though it hurt his fingers. Varaxa smiled slightly. Well done, human. You surprised even me. Cole didn't reply. He was still catching his breath, but inside he felt something shift. He had proved that humans didn't need to copy other species. They could stand on their own in their own way. As the arena emptied and the lights dimmed, Varaxa walked beside Cole and whispered, The true trial hasn't begun yet. Be ready. Cole, the game is bigger than you think. Cole nodded. Then I'll play it. And so the human who was spat on walked out of the arena, not as a victim, but as someone the galaxy had started to notice. After the trial in the arena, Cole's name began to spread through the upper circles of the Galactic Union. At first it was just whispers, but within days, ambassadors, scholars, and even soldiers started asking the same question. What else? Are humans hiding? In the grand archives of the Union Library, several alien scholars gathered around glowing data screens. They had started researching Earth's history, its wars, inventions, and survival stories. What they found shocked them. One scholar from the Ulari species said, These humans, they've faced extinction more than once, and each time they rose again. Another added, Their planet was filled with natural disasters, wars between their own people, deadly diseases. Yet they survived all of it. Their strength isn't just physical, it's something else. Varaxa was already ahead of them. She watched Cole carefully, studied his actions, and read every report written about him. She even accessed Earth's records, public speeches, historical events, and human art. She was fascinated by one thing. Humans never gave up. Cole, meanwhile, was still adjusting to his strange new fame. Everywhere he went, aliens stared. Some greeted him with respect. Others kept their distance. A few even asked to shake his hand, something that felt odd in a galaxy where most species used other forms of greeting. One day, while walking through a government tower, a young alien approached him. It was a student, small and thin, with soft green skin. Excuse me, sir, the student said nervously. I'm writing a report on Earth. May I ask, what makes humans keep fighting when everything seems lost? Cole paused, thinking about the question. That's a good question, he said. I guess we fight because we believe things can get better, even when they're bad. We don't stop hoping. The student nodded slowly. Thank you. That is inspiring. As Cole walked away, he realized that what was happening wasn't just about him anymore. It was about what humanity represented. Varaxa invited Cole to a private meeting that night in her tower. She poured 2 glasses of blue liquid and handed him one. You've become a symbol, Cole, and symbols have power. He sipped carefully. I didn't ask for that. No, she said, but you earned it. She walked over to a large map on the wall. Many species here admire us, caravans, for our control, our system, but deep down, they are tired of being ruled. Then you came and showed them something different. Cole frowned. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Varaxa turned to him. You didn't cause it. You revealed it. She walked closer and said softly, Soon you will be asked to speak in front of the High Circle. It's the largest gathering of leaders in the galaxy. They want to hear from you, your views, your story. Cole's eyes widened. Why me? Because, Varaxa said, you represent Earth. And Earth, it seems, has the heart of a survivor. Cole looked out the tower window at the stars beyond. He never thought one mission to a faraway planet would turn into this. But now, the galaxy was listening, and what he said next could change everything. Cole stood near the giant glass doors of Varaxa's tower, watching the distant stars. He knew things had changed. But he didn't yet understand how deep the game really went. Behind him, Varaxa spoke softly. You've done more than win a challenge. You've disturbed balance. He turned to face her. Balance of what? The balance of fear, she answered. Varaxa led him to a small round table. A hologram appeared above it, showing images of different planets, flags, and species. For centuries, the Caravan nobles have ruled not just through strength but by making others believe they are lesser, she said. But you, a human, walked in alone, no army, no fame, and still you stood tall in front of us all. Cole listened quietly. She continued, Now others question everything. If one human can face me without fear, what else can humans do? Cole frowned. So, is that why you spat on me? To test me? Varaxa nodded slowly. Yes, but that was only the beginning. She turned off the hologram and looked him in the eye. I chose you, Cole, because I believe your kind is different. I've studied your people, your wars, your struggles, your creativity. You don't quit. And more importantly, you can't be easily controlled. Cole raised an eyebrow. Controlled? Varaxa spoke lower now. Most species here, we can influence them. We train their minds to follow, to obey. But human minds are too wild, too stubborn. That's dangerous to some and fascinating to others like me. Cole sat down, trying to process her words. So what now? You need to be careful, she warned. Not everyone wants Earth to rise. Some fear what your people might become. They will try to silence you. Cole took a deep breath. Let them try. Varaxa's eyes narrowed. They already have. She pressed a button and another hologram appeared. It showed a dark hallway. Two tall alien figures were speaking quietly. They planned to corner you after the trial, she said. Assassins, but I stopped them. Cole's face went cold. Why would anyone want me dead for just speaking? Because words can break empires, Varaxa replied. She stepped closer, her tone firm. You're not just representing Earth anymore. You are a symbol, a challenge to old powers, and symbols are dangerous. There was silence for a moment, then she handed him a small metal disc. This is your pass to the High Circle. Speak carefully, Cole. But speak boldly. The galaxy will be watching. He took the disc and stood. I didn't ask for this, Varaxa. No, she said softly. But sometimes history chooses people, not the other way around. As Cole walked back to his quarters that night, he felt something heavy settle on his shoulders. It wasn't fear. It wasn't pressure. It was responsibility. Varaxa had tested him, and he had passed. But now the true weight of being human in a galaxy of watchers had begun. Enemies were forming in shadows. Allies were few. But Cole knew one thing clearly now. He couldn't turn back. And no matter what happened next, he would speak. Not just for himself, but for Earth. The day of the High Circle gathering arrived. Cole stood outside the grand chamber, his heart steady but his mind alert. This was the most important moment of his life, and Earth's future in the galaxy. Inside, hundreds of leaders from many worlds sat in towering chairs around a glowing round table. The air was thick with tension. Many eyes watched the new human closely, some with respect, others with doubt, and a few with open hostility. Varaxa sat near the center, her golden eyes fixed on Cole. She gave him a slight nod. It was time. When his name was called, Cole stepped forward. The chamber fell silent. He began, speaking clearly, his voice calm and honest. My people come from a small blue planet called Earth. We are not the strongest or the fastest. We do not have the most powerful weapons. But we have something else. Hope. The hope to survive and to change. To be better. Some leaders whispered. Others looked away. Cole continued. For too long, many of you have ruled by fear and power. You control others to keep your place, but strength does not only come from force, it comes from unity, trust, and courage. He looked around the room. You may see humans as wild or stubborn. That is true. But it is also our greatest gift. We do not obey blindly. We ask questions. We challenge old ideas. We believe in new possibilities. A sharp voice interrupted. Human, you speak of hope, but what proof do you have that your people can lead among stars? Cole smiled slightly. My proof is here. He gestured to himself. I faced challenges you thought would break me. I stood in your arenas, spoke in your councils, and did not back down. He paused, then added, More than that, humans survive. We learn from failure. We grow from pain. We do not fear the unknown. We explore it. The chamber grew louder. Some leaders stood to object. Others nodded quietly. Viraxa raised her hand, calling for order. Cole finished. If you truly want a future that lasts, you must look beyond old systems. You must embrace change. You must trust not only the strong, but also the willing. When Naoi started, he stepped back. The room exploded in debate. Some praised his words as bold and true. Others called him reckless and dangerous. But the seed was planted. Viraxa came to his side and whispered, You did well. You shook their foundations. Cole nodded, tired but satisfied. Outside the chamber, reporters and diplomats crowded around him. Questions flew fast, but Cole answered with honesty and hope. Among the crowd, some species whispered plans to ally with Earth. Others whispered warnings of trouble ahead. For the first time, humans were not just guests in the galaxy. They were players. Cole looked up at the stars again, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. This was only the beginning. After the speech, the galaxy felt different. The old ways, ruled by fear and power, began to tremble. Some leaders resisted, but many others looked at Earth and its people with new respect. Cole stood beside Lady Viraxa in the grand hall. For the first time, she smiled openly. You have changed everything, she said softly. No one expected a human to rise so quickly. Cole shook his head. I didn't do this alone. My people, my friends, they are with me. Viraxa looked at him closely. You remind me why I once believed in change. Suddenly, the doors opened. A group of alien delegates approached, carrying a large, shining banner. It bore the symbol of Earth and a new star, signifying humanity's place in the Galactic Union. The crowd applauded. Cole felt proud, but humble. He knew the road ahead would not be easy. Old enemies still watched from the shadows, waiting for a chance to strike. But now, humans had a voice, a seat at the table, a chance to shape the future. That night, as the stars shone bright over Veltor Prime, Cole looked up and thought of Earth, his home. The spit on his cheek, once an insult, had become a symbol of challenge, respect, and change. He smiled. The Galaxy was no longer a place where humans were outsiders. It was their new home.